Hello, everybody. Hey, what's going on? What's good? What's cracking? Welcome into the Only Bet Sports Bet Podcast. Alongside your co-host Stern Bets, I am Prince of Picks. Hey, we got a special podcast for you guys today. We are going to be covering the Europa League, which is going to be taking place on Thursday. We got an angle here for every single match, all 18 of them taking place tomorrow. Again, just as the same with the Champions League, these are all going to be taking place simultaneously at the exact same time. So we saw a lot of frenzy, a lot of chaotic scenes here in the Champions League today, and we're going to expect to see that again in the Europa League. So excited to get into it here. Really looking forward to all these games and seeing how everything plays out. We got a lot of great picks for you guys today, but before we get into that, we got to take care of some official business. Please, if you guys can, give us a quick rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can search Only Bets and it'll pop up. Just give it a quick 5-star rating. It helps with the algorithm here, getting our show available to more listeners. And it also helps with the growth of the channel and the podcast. So we'd really appreciate any contribution you guys can give to that. It only takes about 60 seconds every time. We'll continue to give you 30 plus minutes of our time. If you think that's a fair trade, go ahead and give us a help out, and we'd really appreciate it. With that being said, there's no better way to intro this special edition show than to introduce my co-host, Mr. Stern Betts, Mr. Mosh. What up, dude?
Hey man, hope you've had a nice 2 days off. I'm ready to get back into it, leading into the weekend, and we're going to get started breaking down all these games. And while I was doing some of this research, I mean, I'm kind of excited. This is going to be another action-heavy day coming up.
Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of the same from what you saw today. Full disclosure, man. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the games. I was on the road most of the day yesterday and today. So shout out to Drew for holding it down over the last couple days. But I saw the end here. I was listening to it while I was on the road, and I was able to pull over towards the last 5 minutes just to kind of see how everything played out when all the chaos was happening. And what a goal from what was it? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank here. Against Real Madrid. Oh my God, who was it? You know who it was. You guys listening, you know who it was. But the keeper with the header goal at the last second. What excellent scenes here for Jose Mourinho and his side. Getting a much needed goal there at the end to advance. It was just that's the type of things that we were talking about it earlier, sir, and you were asking me, what's the difference between this new format from the Champions League as opposed to the old format, and these are the type of things that you would not see in the old format. This type of last second chaotic energy from all kinds of teams. These coaches are on their iPads, scoreboard watching 17, 16 other matches, and just everyone jockeying for position here. It was just an awesome scene, and I think we're gonna get a lot of the same tomorrow in the Europa League. So I'm really excited to get into it and to cover it here.
Awesome. Yeah. You know what? Let's just start out by explaining again what Europa League is. What is this match, and who is safe, who is not? Is it exactly the same thing that we saw in the Champions League, or is this a new type of tournament with different kind of rules and different kind of expectations?
Yeah, so it's the exact same format as in the Champions League. But again, for those of you maybe you didn't see the Champions League or didn't hear our Champions League podcast, I'll go ahead and go over it again for you guys. So basically, the Europa League here is the if you want to call it the NIT of European football, right? So you have your Champions League, which is your top division. Your Europa League is your second division, but it's still a lot of high quality, a lot of skill all over the pitch here. A lot of these teams would be dominant around most of the world. So Europe is just by far known as the best region for club football. So when you're talking about a second division, you're really talking about a division that's much better than most leagues around the world. So with that being said here, you do have 36 teams in the Europa League. Top 8 get a first round bye. And then you're looking at the top 9 through 24th position. They will advance to a playoff bracket. Again, here in this particular table here, we have teams that have already advanced to the top 8, which are going to be Lyon and Aston Villa. So they essentially have nothing to play for. And then you have teams on the other side here who have already been eliminated. Those teams are going to be Maccabi Tel Aviv, Malmo, FC Utrecht, Nice, Sturm Graz, and Rangers. So everyone else here, so you got about look that's a total of about 8 teams that have either been eliminated or are already advanced. So that leaves 36 minus 8. That is 28 teams that still have something to play for, all again playing at the same time. So expect to see a lot of the same chaos again today, or I
Yeah,
should say
that's
in this match day.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to watching it. And just for the listeners, and correct me if I'm wrong, but teams that are eliminated are still going to play. They have pride, especially if they're playing at home. So discounting the fact that they have nothing to play for may be a mistake that may have run us aground, everyone aground on the rounds of Champions League. And I'm actually going to be looking forward to some of these games that may not mean anything in terms of the standings, but I believe will be a high paced, maybe a high scoring game when it comes down to it. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of times those are the most dangerous teams, are the teams that have nothing to play for, right? Because what are you preserving? So a lot of times you'll see those teams kind of play a more attacking style, especially if they're at home, right? Because they want to put on a show for their fans. They want to give a good, a good final outing for all their supporters. And so a lot of times you'll see those teams that are eliminated just kind of go for it, which usually tends to a more open game, a more exciting game to watch it from a neutral standpoint. And then from a betting angle, those are games that sometimes can relate to more goals. So it all depends on who it is. It's very circumstantial based in terms of what the team is and just kind of how their form is and what the vibe is around them. But yeah, definitely a lot of times those are kind of the sleepy spots that you can pick up some good values on.
Yeah, awesome. And one last question before we dive into the games themselves. Speaking as an American, growing up in American sports, not necessarily used to European football or soccer formats, how important or how different is home field advantage as opposed to American sports? Like I know in American football, it's very important home field advantage. I guess it depends on the team. Baseball, a little bit less so. Basketball, I mean, people lose on their home court all the time. What does home field advantage do for these soccer matches coming up?
Well, it's a lot of the same as in pro sports here in America, but I would say maybe even so on a different level, right? Because these a lot of these clubs have had upwards of maybe over 100 years of fan support. So I mean, you have some deeply entrenched fan bases here for a lot of these European clubs, and so home field advantage. Not only are you talking about a rabid fan base, but you're also talking about out of the country, right? All these teams are traveling out of their country, going to another country, playing at venues that sometimes they're smaller, sometimes the pitch isn't great, sometimes or maybe just the way the crowd, the stadium is set up, like the audio, the crowd might feel like they're on top of you, right? There's a lot of different variables here in Europe that lead to a lot more prevalent home field advantages, I would say. So absolutely, home field advantage definitely makes a difference here in Europe. But skill is always going to be the cream of the crop here. So if one team's better than the other, usually your skill usually will outweigh any kind of home field advantage. But it's definitely important.
Nice, nice. Do you want to lead us through the matches, or do you just want me to fire away and we'll give our best bets in each match as we go along?
Yeah, I figure we'll just go match by match. I'll cover my play, and then I'll toss it over to you, and we'll just kind of go back and forth and see where we're at the end of everything. So if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start in Aston Villa versus Red Bull Salzburg. First match of the day that I have here. Give us your take. Tell us what to be looking out for, and is there any expectations of lots of goals here?
Yeah, so first off, let's just give a little background on where both of these teams stand. So right now we're looking at Villa. Again, they have secured a top 8 spot in the Europa League. So again, you do have a team that virtually has nothing to play for. Meanwhile, on the other side, Salzburg, they are in a must-win situation here to have a chance at the top 24 in the Europa League. So when we're looking at the table here, you would think Salzburg's going to be the more hungry team. But not only that, but we're looking ahead here. Villa, they are currently sitting third in the EPL. And they're very much in the race here for the title in the Premier League. And they do have Brentford here on the weekend, and I kind of have a feeling that with their situation being solid here in the Europa League, they might look to prioritize the EPL match this Saturday just a little bit more than this match, considering that they're already secured into the top eight, virtually have nothing to gain here in the Europa League. So for that reason, and considering Salzburg is going to have to push here to really have a chance at getting into the top 24 and keeping their Europa League hopes alive, I'm going to take Salzburg here on a +1 on the Asian handicap. You get that a +110. Basically, for those of you who aren't sure how Asian handicaps work, if Salzburg wins, we win the bet. If Salzburg draws, we win the bet. If Salzburg loses by just one goal, we push, which means we get our money back. The only way we lose this bet is if Salzburg lose by two or more goals to a team that, again, has nothing to play for and might have their eye on the weekend here in what really is a much more important game for them, considering their status in the EPL. So Salzburg +1 for me, +110 is going to be my play.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's definitely the value play here looking at this matchup. I went in a slightly different way. I think both of these teams are live to score. I took BTTS, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -102 over at MGM. I think that Salzburg is in desperation mode, like you said, but they also have an extremely high press, which leaves their lines a little bit vulnerable. And although I do expect Aston Villa to rotate and maybe use a B team in their midfield, I think that's just going to help Salzburg score, and I think that's also going to open them up to be vulnerable to be scored on, because the one thing that we know from the Premier League is they have talent and they can go down the pitch and get it done, especially when they're given an option. So my best bet on the day here, or best bet in the match here, is BTTS and over 2.5. Got any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, anytime you have an EPL team, there's always a threat for goals, right? So, Aston Villa, of course, having an incredible season in the EPL, and very likely they could put up goals here. But again, my angle is more so on them having a more of a rotated side, and with them having an eye on the weekend here. If they had anything to play for today, I might have a little bit of a different opinion. But with them being in the situation that they're in, if you put yourself in the position, you would probably prioritize, their EPL match ahead of this one. So that's my angle. So I'm going to keep with Salzburg +1. But yeah, I mean, there very well could be goals. Anytime you're dealing with an EPL team and another team, you could always see goals. So yeah, don't hate it. Yep.
The end of the day is we expect Salzburg to at least get maybe one goal is kind of what
Sure.
we're looking at.
Sure, absolutely. Yep. So, okay, I'll take us to the next one here that's on my list, where we have FC Porto going to be hosting Rangers. We're looking at the table for this one here. Porto, with a win, they will secure a top eight spot in the Europa League table. Meanwhile, Rangers on the other side, unfortunately, they have already been eliminated from the Europa League. But when we're looking at the details here, I like Porto to win in this one, and I like them to win by margin. Porto to come into this one undefeated in 16 of their last 18 home matches. Meanwhile, Rangers on the other side are in horrible away form, winless in 16 of their last 22 away matches. So Rangers is traditionally a team, whenever they get outside of Scotland, they tend to struggle. They tend to not do as well because, quite frankly, the Scottish Premiership is just not a very high quality league. And so anytime that they have to play some, above average teams, they usually fail and they usually don't do very well. And against a Porto side here that is going to be very hungry to score, very hungry to get a win, fully motivated here. Absolutely, you want to get in the top eight, which we spoke about this in the Champions League. How important is it to get in the top eight? Very important. You want that first round bye. These guys don't get very many opportunities to get rest. So anytime you get that chance, you want to take it. You want to use it. Anytime you can get past your first round without playing a match, of course, you're going to want to take that opportunity. So I expect Porto here to go full speed ahead. I think they win this by a considerable margin. I don't think it's going to be close. I'm going to take Porto here on an Asian handicap with a -2.0 spread. You're going to get that at +130. Again, for those of you who aren't familiar, Porto to win by 2 goals or more. If we get a Porto win by 2 goals, we push. We need Porto to win by 3 or more in order to win this bet. But I do think, again, given the circumstances here, I think Porto is full steam ahead here for me.
I am in complete lockstep with you. It looks like Rangers is going to be missing Olsen, who is their January signing, key attacker, and he's ineligible to play in this match, which was going to put a huge dent in their offensive capabilities. And you're right, they are a weaker team. I think Porto does score at least 2 here, and that's my best bet here. I have team total over 1.5. I parlayed that with another one, which we'll get to once we get there. But the Rangers are just not going to have enough defense, and I think that Porter should easily score 2 on them. I don't think it's going to be close either. I would take them on a -1.5 or -2 like you're doing, but I kind of wanted to play it somewhat safe or safer. Not that there is such a thing.
Right. Yeah. It's Europa League, guys. Yeah. So always anything can happen. But yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next match here, where we have Stuttgart from the Bundesliga, who are going to be hosting Young Boys from the Swiss Super League. Looking at the table for this one, Stuttgart, they do need a win here for a chance at the top 8 in the Europa League table. Meanwhile, Young Boys on the other side, a draw for them should be enough for a top 24. It doesn't necessarily secure it, but will more than likely be enough for them. So you have a team here in Stuttgart that will be needing to win versus a team here in Young Boys that will maybe be playing more for a draw. But for me, I think Stuttgart is just a better team. It's pretty simple for me. They're the better team. They're in better form. Young Boys, they have lost 6 matches in a row overall here. So Young Boys is just in a really terrible form, and I can't back them here on the road against a much better Stuttgart side. Again, I think this one is going to be a considerable margin of victory here for Stuttgart, but rather than take them on a spread, I went a little bit of a different angle here. I'm going to take Stuttgart to score in both halves, and you can get that at -120. This is a Young Boys team that has been conceding pretty frequently in both halves, and so with Stuttgart here, with everything to play for here in terms of getting a win, I think they absolutely can get a goal here and get inside the net here in both halves. So Stuttgart to score both halves, -130 or -120. Sorry for me.
Well, my bet will cash if your bet cashes. My bet is team total Stuttgart over 1.5 because I absolutely agree with you. I think that they're just a better offensive team. They could blow this whole game out of the water. It could potentially not even be close, but I think that they're going to get at least 2 goals. So yeah, 100%. This is going to be we're on lockstep in this one again. It's good to hear. It
Yes.
makes me feel comfort.
Yes, of course. All right. All right, next up, let's go to the next match here where we have Lyon, who's going to be taking on a PAOK from the Greek Super League. We're looking at the table for this one. Lyon, they are one of these teams that have secured their top 8 position. So, again, a team here with virtually nothing to play for. Meanwhile, PAOK on the other side, they must win to have a chance at the top 8. PAOK coming to this one, though, however, as the second highest scoring team in the Europa League. They have scored a whopping 15 goals in just 7 Europa League matches. So this is a PAOK offensive side that is just really flying right now in the Europa League. And for that reason here, based on, or I should say in conjunction with Lyon already having secured their spot in the top 8, I think we could very well see a PAOK victory here. But I'm going to take them on a draw no bet here with push insurance. I should say draw insurance. That's going to be at +130. So again, PAOK, draw no bet at +130. They are undefeated in 8 of their last 10 away matches is PAOK. So this is a PAOK side that won't be intimidated by going into Lyon, again, against a team that may or may not have a rotated side. But in any case, I just think given PAOK's current form, given their away form, and given their scoring prowess right now, I think they have every chance here to win. And if they draw, we get our money back. So I'll take the draw push insurance here at plus odds. Again, PAOK, draw no bet +130.
Nice, nice. I did not play anything officially here, but I did sprinkle a quarter unit on PAOK, or payout, okay, to double chance. So if they tie or if they win, you win here. But the juice is -145 where I took it. I just kind of tend to lean towards taking the double chance more than the tie no bet. But again, it's just strategy. It's like, do you hit on 16 or do you stay? It really kind of comes out about the same in the long term, right?
Exactly. They're relatively same bets. So, one you pay more juice, but you have a better chance of winning. So either way, you can't go wrong. I'm on board with either one. Next up here, we're gonna go to another match where we have Celtic, who is going to be taking on Utrecht from the Dutch Eredivisie. We're looking at the table here. Utrecht, unfortunately, is another one of these teams that have been eliminated already from the Europa League. Celtic on the other side, they are hanging on to that final 24th spot spot in the top 24 knockout stages. Celtic here with a win will secure their spot in the top 24. But my angle here is I don't think we see either team keep a clean sheet. I think both teams are very capable of conceding goals here. I like both teams to score here at -110. Celtic, they have allowed nearly 2 goals per match in the Europa League. Meanwhile, Utrecht, they have scored in 13 of their last 16 away matches. So these are teams, traditionally, the Dutch league is one of the higher scoring leagues. So Utrecht being from that league, having been conceding a lot of goals in that league as well, BTTS is a very safe play for me in this one. And getting at that at -110, there's no way I could pass that up. So BTTS -110 for me in that one.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually took them to score against Genoa, and they failed to come in last time they were out on the pitch, but I do think that they do bounce back. I decided to just stay on the Celtic side here, take their team total over 1.5. This was the one that I parlayed with Stuttgart team total over 1.5 for a nice little payout. And we'll get to recapping all our best bets at the end here. And we'll give it to you in one shot. But I do agree with you that I think that Celtics score at least one, if not two goals here and probably take the cake, but I can definitely see both teams scoring. The both teams have given up BTTS in 4 out of their last 5 games, so definitely a good look.
Yeah, exactly. With Celtic, with me, I mean, they've kind of been all over the map, right? But after bringing back their manager, whom they previously had, he's kind of seemed to stabilize things a little bit. So probably the right side. If I were to lean the side, it would be towards Celtic. But again, I just don't feel comfortable with either team keeping a clean sheet. So we'll see. But I do think we see goals in this one for sure. Next up, we're gonna go to the match between Nottingham Forest taking on Ferencvaros. Looking at the table here, Ferencvaros with a draw will likely secure their top 8 spot. It won't be guaranteed, but more than likely it'll be enough. Meanwhile, Forest, they are likely locked into the top 24 pretty much no matter what result we get here. So I think you have 2 teams here that might be a little bit disinterested in this game. You might see a little bit of a cagey, kind of like an apprehensive, let's just get out of here without any injuries. Let's play it safe. We're both already into the respective groups that we want to be in. So I don't think we see a lot of goals here. Forest in general are one of those low scoring teams. They're a team that likes to play very defensive. They like to set up in a low block. And I just don't see the appetite and the motivation here for either team to really push for goals. Considering their status in the Europa League table. So for me, it's going to be under 2.5 goals in this one, and you're going to get that at +100.
I'm confused why we have a lot of the same plays today. I didn't play anything officially, but that is my lean here, and I played it for a quarter unit already. And I also kind of wanted to sprinkle on the first half under at +200, but just decided to take the the under 2.5 for the whole game. Yeah, well, I totally agree. We most likely see a cagey match, and if this game is sailing under, I will definitely bet on a goal or two late just to hedge my bet for a good price.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And by the way, just to touch on that point, we've spoken about live bets before. Live bets are a great angle where you can get some really good values. I know we got a lot of new listeners here who may not be familiar with betting soccer, especially betting soccer live. But a lot of times you can get really, really good prices on goals late in matches because obviously the longer the match goes without a goal, the better your price is going to be. So absolutely, pay attention to games, especially tomorrow with everything going on, all the chaos, the final 10 minutes, maybe the 80th minute, 85th minute, you might see, tables switching around and positions switching around and teams, last minute saying, oh, now we need to go for a goal because so-and-so scored and now we're out unless we score, so you'll see a lot of those type of things, a lot of those type of conversations going on the sidelines. So for sure, live bets is absolutely an angle you guys are going to want to approach during these matches 100%.
Yeah, and on that, all of these plays for me are a half unit. I don't know, I can't speak for you, but all these plays are a half unit for me because I specifically want to be able to bet another unit live. And
Yeah,
that's kind of how I approach it.
Yeah, I give mine out in the VIP channel as quarter unit plays. So half unit, quarter unit, however you want to, however you want to divvy it up. But definitely don't put full units on these because, to your point, you want to really try to maximize your value on the live bets. But a lot of times though, you get good value. We're looking for CLV right now, really with these pre-match plays. So, but yeah, anyway, just want to touch on the live play aspect of things. But let's go ahead and get into our next match where we have Panathinaikos from the Greek Super League, who's going to be taking taking on Roma from Serie A, of course, in Italy. We're looking at the table here. Roma, with a draw, they will likely secure their top 8 spot in the Europa League table. Meanwhile, Panathinaikos, again, likely locked into the top 24 position here in the Europa League table. So very similar to what we saw with Forest and Ferencvaros. Panathinaikos and Roma are in an exact same similar situation. I don't think we see a lot of goals here. I don't see the motivation for either side to really push for goals. I think they're both going to be completely comfortable getting out of here with a point, getting out of here with limited injuries. Not to mention, if we're looking at less goals here, under 2.5 has hit in 3 of the last 4 matches for Panathinaikos in Europa League, and it has also hit in 3 of the last 4 away matches for Roma. So again, I don't think we see a lot of goals here. I'm going to be on under 2.5 goals at -135.
Oh, I actually took this also at a quarter unit, just a lean, not an official play. Over at on Bet Rivers, you can still get the under 2.5 at -118, and that's where I took it. And I 100% agree with your analysis. Nothing to add. That was great.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's keep it moving then. Next up, we got Maccabi Tel Aviv from the Israeli Premier League, going to be taking on Bologna from the Italian Serie A. Again, we're looking at the table here. Tel Aviv, they have had a woeful and dreadful Europa League campaign. They are currently sitting dead last in 36th place in the table. Meanwhile, Bologna, they are in a must-win situation for a shot at the top 8. But maybe what's even more impressive than that for Bologna is they have just one loss in the Europa League this season. So Bologna is in excellent form in terms of their Europa form. But they have been conceding goals on the road. When we're looking at Bologna away, they've allowed a goal in 14 of their last 16 away matches. So they're very capable of giving up a goal here to a Maccabi side that, again, this is one of these teams. We were talking about this home field advantage matter. This is one of those clubs that are deeply rooted. This is a deeply rooted fan base. This is a club that has been around for over 100 years. And this is, this is just a very, very loyal fan base. And for sure, even though Maccabi is eliminated, they're going to want to go out on their shield. They're going to want to put out a good performance for their home fans. Do they win this game? Probably not. But do they at least get a goal here? I think they do. I think they're going to at least have some sort of a consolation here for what's been just a terrible Europa League season for them. But when we're looking at their home form, Tel Aviv, they've actually scored a goal in 22 of their last 25 home matches. So this is a team that is in form, scoring at home here. So, but they are winless in 7 straight Europa League matches. So I don't expect them to win, but I do think they're going to get a goal here. So the way I attack this one is I'm going to take Maccabi to score, and I'm going to parlay that with Bologna on the money line. And you get that at +180. So there's different ways to attack this. You could also go both teams to score on over 2.5. You could just take, maybe Bologna on a spread, or maybe Bologna team total. This was the way I felt most comfortable attacking it, given the circumstances and the data that we have here. So again, Maccabi to score plus Bologna money line at +180.
Yeah, I really like that look a lot. Maccabi has been one of those teams in the past where you can just kind of count on BTTS over 2.5 goals in almost every single game that they played, because they do not know how to play good defense. They don't put enough pressure on opponents, and Bologna is going to be able to already has a higher than average amount of touches in the opposition box, which should lead to a lot of goals. But I also agree that at home, Maccabi Tel Aviv will get probably at least one. I didn't want to touch the BTTS part of this, but I did take the over 2.5 goals as an official pick. I got this over at Caesars at -135, which isn't the greatest juice, but I kind of felt comfortable here, thinking that either I'm pretty sure Bologna is going to be able to score at least 2, if not 3, and then Maccabi could kind of pick that up. So with a goal total of an average where I'm expecting about 3.2 goals, I think over 2.5 is a great line, even if the juice is a little bit higher than I would like,
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. All right, so we'll keep it moving here. Next up, we got Real Betis going to be taking on Feyenoord. Betis coming to this one in eighth position, so they are right on the fringe here of that top eight. And this is a match that they're going to be scoreboard watching other matches. This is there's a lot of different things that could happen. They're not really sure of their fate going into this match, so it's going to depend on other results as to whether or not they have a realistic chance of staying in the top eight or dropping into the top 24. Meanwhile, on the other side here, Feyenoord, they're in a must-win situation. They're currently sitting 26th in the table. They have no choice but to go for it. Anything else, and they will be eliminated. But in this one here, I think we're going to see a lot of goals. But I really like a lot of goals in the second half. Both teams score and concede the majority of the goals in the second half. So I think with the circumstances here, again, scoreboard watching, you might see one of the teams here, or maybe both teams, for sure Feyenoord, but maybe even Betis, considering what happens with other games. They may be in a situation where they say, okay, you know what, so-and-so scored, this team scored, we're behind, we got to get goals. You might see them really start to push and goals start flying in for both sides. So the way I'm going to attack this one, I like both teams to score in the second half. And I'm going to get that at plus 185. And I think, given the circumstances here, there's a better than good chance of this one hitting. So that's going to be my play for this one.
I think that's a really sharp look. I don't have any real plays here, but Feyenoord is missing some key defenders, and I do lean Real Betis, but I think that's a great look. The price was just too juicy for me to be able to take a bite on, and I think they moved the numbers in line with, minus 176 is just not a price I'm willing to pay for over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah, that was a problem. I was trying to find a way to attack this, and yeah, everything was so juiced. But then I came across this, and this one I feel really comfortable with. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, both teams score
Yeah,
second half
yeah.
plus 185.
This,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anything else on this one?
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, no, just this is one that I'm specifically have called out to look for a goal live, and especially if your pick, Prince of Picks, comes in where we don't see as many goals in the first half, it's going to be an amazing live betting situation.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. All right. Next up here, we're gonna go to the match between FCSB from Romania. I can't remember how to say their name. Forgive me. And they're gonna be taking on Fenerbahce from the Turkish Super League. We're looking at the table here. Fenerbahce, they are in 18th position currently entering this match. This is another team that is going to be scoreboard watching in terms of what they need to do. Do they have a chance at the top eight? Are they at risk of falling out of the top 24? It's going to determine on a lot of other results here. So they'll absolutely be scoreboard watching. Meanwhile, FCSB, they come into this one in 29th position. Again, another team must win to have any chance of advancing. But for me, an FCSB side that has to go for the win spells disaster for them. And the reason for that being is they have allowed the second most goals in the Europa League. They've allowed a whopping 15 goals in just 7 matches. That's over 2 goals per match. And again, when you're playing against a Fenerbahce side and you're in a position where you have to score, you're going to leave yourself exposed at the back. Fenerbahce has absolutely enough quality on the offensive side to take advantage of that. And then we're looking at Fenerbahce on the defensive side. They have had a clean sheet in 4 of the last 5 away matches. So even though FCSB is going to be pushing for goals, the trend suggests that they may not even be able to get one. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a shutout or not. I don't know if Fenerbahce is going to keep the clean sheet just because FCSB is in a very desperate situation at home. So the way I'm going to play this one, I'm going to take Fenerbahce on the money line and over 1.5 goals here, and you're going to get that at minus 115. I think that's an outstanding value, just considering how frequently FCSB has been conceding goals. And I think there's just a talent gap here between Fenerbahce and FCSB. So, again, it's going to depend on a little bit of a scoreboard watching and see how other results play out. But I like Fenerbahce here, just as the better team, and over 1.5. So, again, Fenerbahce money line, over 1.5, minus 115.
Yeah, I took the over 1.5 as a parlay piece, over with Porto team total, which we'll get to in a minute. But I 100% agreed. FCSB has conceded 7 goals in the last 2 games. They're chaotic in the back, and they're facing a very high quality Fenerbahce attacking squad. I don't think that they're going to be able to keep them down. I would have just taken Fenerbahce over team total over 2.5, but I was able to get my parlay to a reasonable price with the match total over 1.5. So that's what I stuck with. But I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I was trying to find an angle here where I could get a playable value because again, Fenerbahce being, obviously heavily favored here, it was kind of tough to find something that was playable. But yeah, I like this a lot. Again, I just think Fenerbahce is a far superior team to FCSB, and FCSB is going to leave themselves super exposed at the back, considering how much they're going to need to push for goals. Next up, we got a matchup with taking place here with Go Ahead Eagles from the Dutch Eredivisie taking on Braga from Portugal. We're looking at the table here. Braga currently sitting fifth in the Europa League. A draw will secure their spot in the top eight of the Europa League table. Meanwhile, Go Ahead Eagles on the other side, they are in a must-win situation to have any chance for the top four. For that reason, I think Go Ahead Eagles will have to push for the win here. Again, I think you're going to see a similar situation to what we were just talking about with Fenerbahce and FCSB. You're going to see a Go Ahead team here, not very good defensively, going to be forced to try to go for goals. When we're looking at Braga here on their away form, they have scored in 19 of their last 20 away matches. So this is a Braga side has no problem going into the other team's home field and putting up a goal or two. So I think we see both teams to score in this one. I'm not sure if Braga is going to keep a clean sheet just because Go Ahead Eagles is going to be extremely desperate to get a goal here. So I like both teams to score in this one. We're going to get that at minus 145.
Nice, nice. I'm off this game. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't feel comfortable with anything other than maybe scoring one goal. But I'm off this game. I couldn't put heads or tails together, but I do lean over overall.
Yeah, I would say the only other thing that matters in this game too that might be different from other ones is that Go Ahead Eagles is one of these teams. They're not one of your blue bloods, right? This is a very kind of a local team, not a team that's had much European success. So the fact that they're in a Europa League right now, the fact that they're in a European competition, with this being their final home game of the competition, I just think that just they're going to really want to at least get a good get a goal here for their home fans and their home support. And what's really been a monumental campaign for them. I think their last appearance in the Europa League was 60 years ago. So, or in any European competition. So this isn't one of your blue bloods that's a year in year out. Either in Champions League or Europa League. This is a team that virtually has no European pedigree at all. So, I just think they're going to find a way to get a goal here against Braga. But yeah, let's see what happens to that one. We'll keep it moving here. Next up, we got a matchup between Genk going to be taking on Malmo. Genk coming to this 10th place in the Europa League. They are in a must-win situation to have a chance at the top eight. Meanwhile, Malmo on the other side from the Swedish division, unfortunately, coming to this 135th place, already eliminated from the competition. So Malmo here, one of these teams with nothing to play for. And Stern, we were talking about before, taking these teams that have nothing to play for. If they're playing at home, yeah, you might want to take them. On the road, not for me. I'm going to fade them. I'm going to fade Malmo here at Genk. Genk is in a must-win situation here. I think Genk puts it on this Malmo team. Malmo has been conceding a lot of goals here recently, and I think Genk on the money line plus over 2.5 goals. I'm going to get that at minus 110. We could see all three goals from Genk. It's possible we'll see a goal from Malmo. I don't think so, but in any case, I like that price a lot, and I think Genk should win this one pretty comfortably.
I agree with that. My lean here, not an official play, was Genk -1 and -1 on the spread. That was playable, but nothing for me officially here. I do tend to agree with your analysis, though.
Okay, awesome. All right, next up, we'll keep it moving here. We got Midtjylland going to be taking on Dinamo Zagreb. We're looking at the table here. Midtjylland, they are secure in their position in the top eight, so they don't really have much to play for. Meanwhile, Zagreb, a draw will secure their spot in the top 24. So, again, I think this is a circumstantial-based match where you're not going to see either team really go for it. Both teams should be content with their positions, with their point totals and where they're at. So I don't think we see a lot of goals here, but my favorite play for this one is going to be first half under one. You're going to get that at plus 115. Again, basically if this score at halftime ends 0-0, you win the bet. If there's one goal, you get your money back. The only way you lose this bet is if there's two or more goals in the first half. So, given the circumstances here, I just don't think there's much to play for these teams. So, first half under one for me.
Yeah, this is just going to be a dry stretch for me. I got nothing on this one. It was like you said, they're both pretty comfortable. I don't know if they have a lot to play for, and if they're not going to be pushing each other, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not really interested in speculating, but I think at the big plus money for under a first half goal is a good look.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't pass that one up. So, next up, we're gonna take on the match with Lille, from the French division, French League, taking on Freiburg from the German Bundesliga. We're looking at the table for this one. Lille, they're in a must-win situation here to get into the top 24. Meanwhile, Freiburg on the other side, they are already safe in the top eight. So again, Freiburg, nothing much to play for here. I'm gonna keep this one simple. Give me Lille on the money line, minus 105. Freiburg, they're winless in 5 of their 6 last away matches, so just not a good team on the road right now, current in terms of their current form. And again, I just think Lille in a must-win situation at home in front of their crowd. I just think they might actually just be the better team overall, than Freiburg, but I love them here on the money line, minus 105.
We finally get somewhere where we disagree. I think I took Freiburg double chance. So if they win or draw, I get the win at minus 120 here. I think that they have the best defense on the field. They have 0.43 goals conceded per game, and I think they're going to happily take a 0-0 or 1-1 type of game. And I don't trust Lille to kind of score more than to score more than once. So I expect a lower scoring game, and in lower scoring games, you take the spread, you take the points. So taking the points with Freiburg, double chance at minus 120.
Okay, I like it. Nice. It's good to have some different opinions on things. So,
I was wondering when it was going to happen. Like we haven't
yeah,
really
I know.
had a game yet where we were like, no, I disagree.
we're through about 13 games and we've agreed on every single one. So it's about time we disagree on something here.
And for
Yeah, I
those
mean,
listening, we do not share. We have not shared. I would like to, but we have not shared picks before the before the show.
yeah, I do that on purpose so we can get a surprise here and see just exactly where we're at without knowing each other's picks. So in any case, yeah, I mean I get what you're saying. For me, I'm going more towards Freiburg's away form. They're just not very good on the road, but let's see what happens. Next up, we got Red Star Belgrade, who's going to be hosting Celta Vigo. We're looking at the table for this one. I think both teams coming to this one, they will need to go for the win. They are both safely in the top 24, so they're not at risk of dropping out of the top 24. But a win will give both of them a chance at the top eight. So they have no reason but to go for it here. There's virtually no risk for them at all in terms of dropping out of the knockout stages. And when you're looking at Celta Vigo here, this is a BTTS machine. This is a team that just on a consistent basis has been getting both teams to score, whether it's in Europa League, whether it's in their domestic league, whether it's in cup matches, doesn't seem to matter. They always seem to score and concede. So again, in this one, with both teams needing to go for it here, I think we see a lot of goals in this one. I'm going to take both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. You're going to get that at plus 100.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, BTTS was the play that I had circled, but it was minus 150, so I kind of laid off. But now that you're on it, I'm definitely going to play the BTTS and over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, so I'll comment on that because initially I did have just BTTS, but it was just a little too juiced for me. But then considering that they're both really need to go for the win, there's no reason for them to kind of settle for a 1-1 draw. So I think if it's 1-1 late or even 2-2, if it's tied up, in the last 5-10 minutes of the match, I think you could see both teams just kind of go gung ho and just kind of go for the win because again, there's nothing at risk here. They can only gain by winning, but they can't lose anything by losing, if that makes sense. So
Yep,
that's
yep.
kind of my angle for that one. Yep.
And
So all
those are
right,
my favorite
yeah, go ahead.
sprinkles. Those games, these games right here, where both teams are going to go for it, and it's tied at the end of a half or end of the game. That's really the perfect time to throw $5. You can win like 30-40 bucks at a time. I
Yeah.
don't go down the rabbit hole, keep doubling down, but you could throw $5 at the end of that one if it is tied, and that I've found success on that one.
Absolutely. Yep. Definitely a live look game for this one. So, all right, let's keep it moving here. Next up, we got Ludogorets, going to be taking on Nice. Nice, unfortunately, one of these teams that have been eliminated from the competition. So no matter what they do, they will be eliminated. Meanwhile, Ludogorets, they are in a must-win situation for the top 24. They do have a slight chance with the draw, but they're going to need a lot of things to go right for them to get in. So realistically, they should probably be approaching this match needing to win and having that mentality. But for me here, I think we see both teams score. Both teams are in the top five in allowing goals in the Europa League, meaning they both have the worst of five defensive teams here in the Europa League. So I think we're going to get both teams to score in this one, and I'm going to take that here at minus 125.
Yeah, that's a good look. I didn't really know how to attack this one, but I think that's a really solid look there, and I'll definitely be tailing.
Awesome. All right, and then we got just two more games, guys. We're almost at the end here. We're gonna look at the next one here between Basel, who's gonna be taking on Victoria Pilsen. Basel from the Swiss League, of course, coming to this one in a must-win situation for the top 24. Meanwhile, Victoria, a draw will secure their spot in the top 24. But what most stood out to me in this one is Victoria on the defensive side. They come into this one with the number one ranked defense in all of the Europa League. They have allowed just 3 goals total in 7 matches. So this is a extremely stout defensive side here for Victoria Pelsen. In a game where all they need is a draw to secure their spot, I can't see any way on God's green earth where they would ever try to go for goals in this one. I think this one's going to be an extremely dull game. But for me, I'm going to take the angle of a first half, a low scoring game. I'm going to be on first half under 1 at plus 115.
Yeah, well done. I did look at the under for the full game. It just didn't really feel it. But something that I did see that I really liked was the draw price at plus 295. I did sprinkle an eighth of a unit. For me, that's 12.5 bucks, which is kind of what my sprinkle is when I'm going for it. I just lost my notes, but I think they've drawn in. Oh, here it is. They've drawn in 5 of their last 7 games. And I do agree with the good defense there. So I'm going to just sprinkle on the draw at almost plus 300. I thought that was worth a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're kind of in lockstep on this one because a low scoring game a lot of times will result in a draw anyway. So there's a very good chance that we can both end up hitting on this one. All right, and then finally our final game. We've got to the end, guys. We're going to be looking at the match between Sturmgrads taking on Braun. Sturm again, another team here, not to be confused with Stern. This is Sturmgrads. They have already been eliminated from the competition. Meanwhile, Braun, this is a team that's going to be scoreboard watching. A lot of things are up in the air for them, so still undetermined what kind of position they're going to be in. Will they need to win? Will they need to draw? Obviously, they're not going to want to lose here. But for me, this one's pretty straightforward. I just think Sturm is the better team. Sturm Graz here. They're the better team than Braun. They have better talent. They have a better roster. At home, I'm going to take them here on a draw no bet. Again, we get push insurance if the match ends in a draw. You get your money back. But this one's going to be a plus 100. Again, Sturm Graz, draw no bet, plus 100.
Yeah, this is another one that I would have considered the draw. I didn't feel comfortable with any side specifically, so I'm out. But I do like your play.
Awesome. Okay, then that's going to actually conclude all of our picks for the Europa League matches taking place on Thursday. Stern, did you have any final thoughts here before we recap our plays?
No, this is just going to be a very exciting full day of soccer again that I'm really looking forward to watching. Gonna have to convince my wife and kids to maybe watch a little bit of it when they get home from school and work, but
It's
I'm
worth
gonna.
it. It's worth it. Yeah, it's a learning experience for them. Expose them to some exciting football. Maybe I don't know if they're fans of soccer or not, but maybe they will be after after
Oh yeah,
watching that.
my youngest really likes it. I should say my second youngest now. I have a baby as well, but they're getting into it. They enjoy it when it's on. It's honestly it's better than I think some of the other sports. It's a little bit less flashy. There's this consistent screen behind them, so it works.
There you go. Yep. So, can't wait for it. All right. Well, if that's you don't have any other final thoughts here, let's go ahead and recap the plays. Hopefully, I can get through this without losing my voice. I'm gonna go through 18 picks here. All right, deep breath. We got Salzburg +1 against Aston Villa. We're going to be taking Porto on a -2 handicap against Rangers. Give me Stuttgart to score in both halves against Young Boys. We're going to be taking Pauk on a draw no bet at +130, home or away to Lyon. We're going to be looking at Celta Utrecht, BTTS here for that one. Nottingham Forest and Ferencvaros under 2.5 goals. Give me Panathinaikos and Roma also under 2.5 goals. We're looking at Maccabi Tel Aviv and Bologna. I'm looking at Maccabi to score and Bologna on the money line, +180. Where we're looking at Real Betis and Feyenoord. I like both teams to score in the second half. FCSB and Fenerbahce. Give me Fenerbahce on the money line plus over 1.5 total goals. We're looking at go-ahead Eagles versus Braga. I like both teams to score in that one. We're looking at Genk versus Malmo. I like Genk on the money line plus over 2.5 goals. We're looking at Michelin and Dinamo Zagreb. I'm looking at a low-scoring first half under 1 goal. We're looking at Lille and Freiburg. Keep it simple here. Give me Lille on the money line. And we are going to be looking at Red Star Belgrade versus Celta Vigo. I like both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. We're looking at Ludogorets Nice, both teams to score. Basel and Victoria Pelsen. Give me the first half under 1 goal. And finally, I will be taking Stern Graz on a Drano bet against Braun. Anything else here, Stern? Any last comments or anything before I close this out?
Yeah. I want to give out my 5 best bets here. I have SC Freiburg double chance minus 120, FC SB and Fenerbahce full game over 1.5 parlayed with Porto team total over 1.5. I got this at minus 130. In Aston Villa RB Salzburg, I like BTTS and over 2.5 goals at minus 102. I like a team total over 1.5 parlay featuring the Celtic and Stuttgart. And last but not least, Maccabi Tel Aviv Bologna over 2.5 goals at minus 135.
All right, awesome. Okay, well, if that's all you got, that's gonna do it for today's Europa League show. Again, we greatly appreciate all you guys' support. Thanks for tuning in. Can you do us a quick favor, please? Some official business to take care of. Just give us a quick rate, review, and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It only takes about 60 seconds of your time. Give us a quick 5-star rating. Give us a real quick short review. We would really appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm here, giving our show more accessibility to more listeners. And it also helps with the growth of the community and the channel as well. So we would greatly appreciate that. You guys have been awesome with your downloads. The downloads have been incredible, far exceeding all of our expectations. So,
Oh, can I interrupt you for a sec?
yeah, of course.
Do you know how many downloads we have now in just under a week and a half?
How many? With no promotion and no advertising? Yes. How much?
390.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
390.
That's
An
incredible.
average of 52.3 listens in the first 7 days. That's just unreal.
Yep, absolutely. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the listeners. That's from you guys. You guys, word of mouth is spreading, and people are just tuning in. And obviously, we couldn't do it without you guys' support. So we're really grateful for everything that you guys have been doing. Continue to help us out as much as we can. Like I said, we'll continue to give you 30+ minutes of our day. All we ask is 60 seconds, real quick. And if you think that's a fair trade, then help us out in any way that you can. But again, appreciate all the downloads. Appreciate all the support. I'm excited to get into these matches tomorrow. Again, they're all taking place at 3 p.m. Eastern. 18 matches all happening at the same time. We got March Madness in college basketball. I am officially going to dub this as January Jubilee. So we got January Jubilee tomorrow in the Europa League. 18 matches, 3 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait. For my co-host, OnlyBets, I am Prince of Picks. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.